Hello guys, welcome to today's video. So we're going to go through darts etiquette. I'm going to go through a load of different things that you guys should keep in mind when you're playing competitive darts, whether that's in a league match or in a tournament. This particular game is in a tournament. We're playing in a round robin stage and we're going to go through darts etiquette. And I'm just going to go through a few different things that you might not have thought of and might not even be part of your thought process when playing darts, especially if you're a new dart player. So let's get into this and let's go through everything that I think you need to know as maybe a newer dart player, maybe even an experienced dart player. But let's go through darts etiquette, and if there's anything that I missed in this video, please go through, leave it in the comments. I'd love to have a read through and see what you guys consider darts etiquette, and we're going to go through as much as we can in this video. So starting off, there's one thing that is definitely different. There's a few things that are definitely different about darts etiquette compared to when I first started playing. So when I first started playing darts, I was about 8 years old. I first played in a team when I was about 10 years old, and I learned darts etiquette, and I learned how to play darts and how to conduct yourself from a load of blokes, basically. A load of blokes who had played darts for years, who had played darts from the 60s, 70s onwards, you know, people who were a lot older than me, a lot more experienced than me, and that's how I learned how to play darts, was learning from those sort of guys. So the way that darts is different today is a lot of young players, or a lot of new players who have sort of started playing darts since the COVID era, or especially since like the Luke Littler era, they're learning how to play darts from what they see on TV, not from what they're being taught from like older dart players or people who are experienced dart players. So one thing I see a lot more nowadays, a whole lot more nowadays, is there's a lot more celebrating, there's a lot more noise, there's a lot more going on in a game of darts, especially from younger players. A game like this, so in this game I'm playing against a guy called Neil. He's a super nice guy, been playing darts forever. Everyone in our area knows who Neil is. Really, really good dart player as well, and just an all-round good guy. But when I drew him in my group, I went and asked him, I was like, can I film this? Because I know that I'm going to get a good etiquette game out of him. And also the chalker is like a county player as well. Super good player. He's going to be pretty good for me to film and stuff as well. So anyway, a lot of things have changed, and I think a lot of people are learning how to play darts from what they see on TV. So whereas you would see, say, Go and Price hit a finish and give it the big guan like you see him do every single week, that's not really realistic in a scenario where there's other people playing around you, and you know, it's not really super realistic. But that's how sort of darts has changed in the last few years. But anyway, let's go through some etiquette bits. Let's go through some rules and some unwritten rules that happen in darts. So the first thing I'm going to say is know when you're on. So in this instance, we're playing in a tournament. On this tournament, I am assigned to a dartboard, and I'm assigned to a group. Now, we get a piece of paper in these tournaments that let you know the order of play. So you guys can work out from this piece of paper. This is going to be different wherever you are, but if there's an instance where you can work out where you're playing and roughly when you're playing, then you definitely want to keep on top of that. One thing that's super annoying as a chalker or as an opponent is when your opponent doesn't turn up. It's super annoying. If you've in this situation, if you lose, you chalk. So the guy who's chalking has just lost his previous game. He might be a bit annoyed by that. But one thing that you've got to take into consideration is he's going to be, if he's standing there for 10 plus minutes waiting for you to turn up, that's bad etiquette. That's not something you want to do. So one thing that I'll always do is I'll always take a picture of the order of play, and then I can work out roughly when I'm on, and I can, if I know I've got a 2-game wait, I can go and do something else. I can go and have a chat with my mates. If I'm on next and I can see the games playing, I know that I probably can't go and do whatever. I can't wander off. I can't go to my car. I can't whatever. I need to make sure that I'm at least concentrating on what's happening in the world, at least knowing what's happening on my board, and roughly having a good idea of when I'm playing. So it's super important to know when you're on, because people don't want to wait for you. And you've got to understand as well, people are spending their time to put on tournaments like this, and if you're 10 minutes late to every game, you play 5 games, you're adding on 50 minutes to that dartboard, potentially adding on half an hour to an hour onto the end of the tournament, where, you know, people have given up their time to put this tournament on for you. At least be respectful of the timings and stuff. So that's super important. Another thing that's a little bit sort of along these lines is knowing who's throwing first. So in this instance here, it's a bullseye start, and it's important to know who's throwing first because the person who's first on the list is the person who throws for the bullseye first. Now, one reason why that's important is because if both people know who's first for the bullseye, you will sort of practice knowing who's throwing first. So if I'm throwing first, I might say 6 more darts, 9 more darts, whatever, and that will be sort of like it's a little bit of just a small little etiquette thing, but it's just you don't want to keep throwing, and then there's someone says, "Well, come on, guys, are we going to throw for the bullseye? Are we going to start the match?" And you go, "Oh, don't know whose start it is." You can find that information out for the most part pretty simply. So definitely important to know who's throwing first. The next thing is handshakes. So handshakes and fist bumps. Now, one thing since COVID. Before COVID, there was no fist bumps in darts. You didn't fist bump. You saw it on TV sometimes, but no one in my league or in my competitions were fist bumping before matches. Nowadays, it's a lot more okay to do that, which is absolutely fine. I would say when handshakes or fist bumps should occur is to do one when you both get to the board. It's absolutely fine. Not necessary. Absolutely fine though. Before the match begins, before you bull up, I would say definitely handshake, fist bump. After you've balled up and the match is about to begin, that's when a fist bump is absolutely fine. The other time when you want to do one is when the game has ended. Now, one thing that I will always say to myself is I'm okay with a fist bump on arrival, I'm okay with a fist bump on the beginning of the game, but I will always shake the hand at the end of the game. One thing that definitely has changed over the years, and since the COVID sort of thing happened, a lot of people are opting for the fist bumps, and I understand it. Phil Taylor was a fist bumper, and I feel like that was mainly because back in the day, the only reason you wouldn't do a handshake was because it could mess up your grip on your hands, which I totally understand. And if that's the case, then fine. But it doesn't really matter about the grip on your hands after the match is finished, and I think a respectful way to end the game is with a proper handshake. So I think fist bump on the arrival, fist bump after you've balled up is fine. After the game, I would say go for a handshake. The thing about a last leg decider, sometimes people will want to fist bump on a last leg decider. Sometimes people won't. Be mindful of this because you don't have to. There's nothing in the rules to say that. There's nothing in etiquette to say that. Some people will want to, some people won't. If I've just thrown a dart to go 2-2 and I turn around, I will always look at my opponent and see if he wants to offer a fist bump. If they do, I'll take it. If they don't, that's absolutely fine. But I'll look to see if that's what they want to do. I'm not going to be offended as a dart player if they don't offer a fist bump or a handshake at 2-2 because, to be honest, I don't want to do one. I don't want to do a fist bump or a handshake, but if someone offers one, I will never turn it down because it's just rude. So one thing to think about when it comes to fist bumps and handshakes is that. Right, another thing, walking back from the dartboard. So you can see in this instance, we have loads of space. So the rules, the general rules of darts is typically you're supposed to walk back from the dartboard the way that the chalker is. But in an instance like this, the thing is, if your boards are all close together and everyone walks back the same direction, you don't get the instance where one person walks left from the dartboard, the person on the right of you walks. The person from the other side of you walks the other way, and you end up getting this thing where two people walk towards each other from different dartboards. Super annoying. It can mess up the flow of the game a little bit. So one thing I would say is if the boards are close, walk towards the chalker when you pick out your darts. If you've got this much space, this is a pretty big venue for a darts tournament. We've got loads of space. You can walk either way here, but just be mindful of that. If you're tight and enclosed, then definitely walk the way of the chalker, or just have a look around and see what everyone else is doing, because it might be different rules for different areas, it might be different rules for different tournaments. Just be mindful of what other people are doing and just copy what everyone else is doing. I will tend to walk the chalker way for the most point, and I think that works out fine. But just be mindful of what everyone else is doing around you, and don't be the guy who keeps getting in the way of the board next to you when you're walking back. So that's another thing that you can do. Going for the bullseye. Going for the bullseye, you know, first person out of the hat goes for the bullseye first. It's pretty simple. I will always, if I'm the second to throw, I will always collect both darts. If there's two darts in the board, I always collect both darts, give my opponent their dart back, start the match. I think for the most part, most people do this. I think pretty much everyone does this, but sometimes you'll see it where you'll throw outside the 25, leave it in. So they'll go 25, they'll take their dart out the board, and then you're like, get mine then. It's a bit like, oh, it's a bit annoying. Doesn't happen very often, but just a quick one to put that in there. Understanding your surroundings. Now, again, this goes back to my point earlier, that there are people who are taking the time out of their day to set up these tournaments, put up their own dartboards, put up their own surrounds, their own stands and stuff, hiring out venues to put on a dart tournament for you. This is a good instance of understanding your surroundings in this game, because I'm probably playing on the worst possible dartboard in the room. And that's because this is the only dartboard where the bar's to the left, the door's to the left. People are walking past me all the time. And as much as it's easy to say, oh, this is rubbish, I shouldn't be playing on this dartboard, someone's got to play on it. Unfortunately, in this instance, it's me. But that's something that you shouldn't be complaining about, because people have taken time out of their day to put on this dart tournament. If you get the one board that's a little bit annoying because people are walking past and stuff, then just deal with it. Like, just deal with it. I remember during this tournament, I saw a couple of times where people were getting annoyed that people were walking like directly past them. You just got to deal with it. It's unfortunate you've been drawn on that board, but everyone else on the same board is having the same problem as you. So just handle it. You're an adult for the most part. Some of you might be children, but it's a good thing to understand what's going on. You know, I can see instantly that this dartboard is going to be a few people walking to my left. Just understand it, deal with it. You'll be fine. Removing your darts in a timely fashion. So there's a few times in this clip where I've thrown a couple of bad darts, and I am getting a little bit annoyed with myself, but I'm not doing this. One thing that people do, it really annoys me, is they will throw a dart and it's a bad dart, and they'll go on the oche and they'll stand still, and then they'll go and take their darts out, or they'll take their darts out slowly because they're annoyed. Just because you've thrown a bad dart, it's not your opponent's fault. Your opponent should not have to wait for you to have a little hissy fit and then go and get your darts. They should be able to play darts at the same pace that they're allowing you to play darts. If you get into a bit of a game where your opponent's being a bit annoying, I don't care. Darts etiquette goes out the window a little bit if your opponent is doing things back to you. Fine, I don't care. That's absolutely fine. But if your opponent's being respectful for you when he's throwing his darts and retrieving his darts, do the same back to him. You're just going to get yourself a bad name if you don't do that. And it's a super easy thing. If you want to be annoyed at yourself, be annoyed at yourself when you've walked away from the dartboard and you're not in the eye line of your opponent. Be annoyed with yourself then. Whatever. Try not to make any noise though. That's super annoying. Don't be super loud. Let's go on to that. Don't be super loud. Rattling your darts. Super annoying. Super disrespectful. Banging. If you've got a drink on the table, putting your drink down too loudly is annoying, and it is an irritating thing. So if I ever have a drink with me, and I will always place it super lightly, like super lightly, because it's very annoying. But anyway, let's continue. Waiting for your opponent to complete their throw. So one thing that I will give my opponent plenty of space. They've got loads and loads of space to throw their darts. I will stand as far back as possible without knocking the table over, but I'll give my opponent as much space as they need to throw their darts. If they throw a dart and they've miscounted, or if they want to have a quick check of the score or whatever, they've got space and time to do that, because I'm not on their heels. I'm not right directly behind them. Once they start moving forward, I'll then get into my position to throw my darts, and I'll always wait for my opponent to sort of at least get past the chalker before I throw a dart. And I have a bit of a routine where I line my dart up and whatever, and I won't line the dart up until I know that my opponent's out the way and not going to get hit by a dart or whatever. You know, if you're too quick, we've seen it before. Gerwyn Price, the big clip against Michael Van Gogh, and he throws a dart pretty much over Van Gogh's head because he's too quick to the dartboard. Sometimes it happens, but if you slow yourself down a little bit, it's not going to happen. Gerwyn Price he's quite quick. He's quite hot on the heels of his opponents when he plays, but for the most point, if you're quite slow, that's not going to happen. Anyway, yeah, rattling your darts, helping the chalker. So one thing that you may run into, especially nowadays, because there's so many auto scoring systems, there's so many new kids who are playing who have got Omnis and Scolias and whatever for Christmas. Not everyone can chalk. Now, chalking is a big part of the game. Back in my day, We didn't have all of that. We didn't even have we didn't even use electric scoreboards. Everything was chalk and a blackboard. You had to chalk before you could even play darts. So you had to be good at chalking before people who played regular darts would let you even join in on their games, because no one wants to have a chalker who has no idea what they're doing. If you get into a situation where your chalker isn't great, I'm in a good position here. My chalker's a county player. There was a couple of times where I'd gone an odd route or something, or I'd changed up my decision, and they'd gone and I just say it's 52 or it's 97 or it's 94, whatever I've scored. If I can see that they're struggling a touch, I'll just let them know, and I won't remove my darts until they've started writing. If they're struggling a little bit, which in this case wasn't the case, but if they're struggling a little bit, keep your darts in the board, because that's your only way of proving that you've actually hit what you've hit. If you say, oh, it's 100, and you rip your darts out of the board, and they say, no, that was 60, it's 60 now. Your chalk has said, you can argue it whatever you want, you've removed the darts, the chalk has said 60, you might have said 100, but you didn't leave your darts in to verify it. So you just got to be mindful of that. That's definitely something you've got to be mindful. Staying calm is super important. Staying calm during a darts match. If you're quite hot-headed, or if you are letting your emotions get the better of you, you're going to affect your opponent. You might affect people playing around you. Staying calm is super important in the darts etiquette world, because it's important to make sure that everyone around you is having as good a chance as you to play darts. It's super important that you can stay calm and play your game. You don't want to be. You see it all the time. I see it all the time anyway, where people are getting really, really agitated because they've scored 45 or something. It's you've got there's 3 darts out of potentially 5 legs or 7 legs, whatever it is the format you're playing. Calm down. You'll be fine. Throw a better one next time. And yeah, just stay calm. Another thing is being gracious in defeat, and also in victory as well. If you want to go and have a little moan, if you played rubbish and you want to go and throw your toys out the pram, do it away from the board. I don't have a problem with people getting annoyed when they're playing darts, or after they've played darts, if they've lost and you think, oh, I should have won that, and you're really annoyed. That's fine. It's absolutely fine. But don't do it in there and then in the moment. If I've beaten someone and they give me half a handshake, super disrespectful. No, the game, it's a gentleman's game. Shake the person's hand, leave, go and cry somewhere else. Absolutely fine. But if you do it there and then in the moment, it makes you look a bit silly. People are going to talk, say, oh, I just played that guy, he had a proper hissy fit at the end of that, and people talk, and you get a reputation. You'll definitely get a reputation of being a sore loser, and it's a frustrating game. Darts is a very frustrating game. People will pick up on that, and people will make comments, and people will notice things, but it is what it is. Stay calm, you'll be fine. And the last thing is, if you're in a situation where it's loser chalks, or if you're in a situation where you have assigned chalking, in this instance it is loser chalk, so I've lost this match, it's now my time to chalk the game, to chalk the next game. So just stay there. People are trying to get the games running and stuff, and they don't want to be looking for you when it's your turn to chalk, especially if you know when it's your turn to chalk. If it's loser chalks, just stay there. If you lose the game, you're like, oh, I'm going to go and have a cigarette or whatever, or I'm going to go to the bar and I'm going to get myself a pint or whatever. I'm going to go to the car and go and do something. Just do it after. The next game are waiting for you. You're the one who's lost. It's your fault you're chalking. Go and chalk. But anyway, there's a few etiquette things that I wanted to go through, and if you guys have anything you want to add, then let me know in the comments. That'd be great. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.